Well, hello, DCO Nation, and welcome back to another DCO Live. Guys, it is Thursday night, and I'm actually a little bit surprised that you guys are on. How come you're not watching the football game? No, I'm serious. You guys should be watching. This is exactly where you need to be tonight. So, no, I appreciate you guys jumping on. I think we saw, who did I see up here? Let me scroll back up. Steve, Everett, Tony, Steve with Yak and Inshore, Russell, Gunner. Great to see you guys. Appreciate you jumping on. So, guys, you may not recognize the face, but you know who this guy is on the screen right next to me. This is Bryan, small craft angler. So I got him on tonight. Bryan, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, man, we're doing great, doing great. Kevin, you just jumped on. Good to see you. I wanted to have Bryan on. Pretty much wanted to talk kayak setups, and if you guys haven't been on his YouTube channel yet, Small Craft Angler, go over there, subscribe, follow him, watch his videos, and check out his rig. It is awesome. I want to kind of pick his brain, kind of go over his setup, and just kind of get a little rundown and maybe see if I can't, improve on my kayak a little bit. So Heath just jumped on. Hey, buddy. So Bryan, so what kind of kayak do you have?
So I have an Old Town Big Water EPDL 132. It has an electric pedal drive system, and that's powered by an amped outdoors 36 volt, 20 amp hour lithium ion battery, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So explain the e-pedal. What is that?
All right, so the easiest way for me to describe that, it's like an e-bike engine. I've never rode an e-bike. I don't own an e-bike, but that's how it's explained to me. Um, the electric pedal drive system, it basically, there's three ways it can be paddled. It can be paddled manually, so just like your regular pedal drive. This is my first pedal drive, so from what I understand, when you pedal it manually, it's a little harder than, say, probably your Hoodoo. Yours is probably a little more free because it still feels engine-y, kind
Okay.
of, some mechanical, I guess.
Mhm.
So it also has pedal assist, and that's where the e-bike comes in. You can pedal, and it has 5 levels of assist. You really don't feel anything 1 through 3, but when you get to 4 and 5, it really can get you going, and you can feel that. And then it has basically like a cruise control feature. So once you start pedaling, uh, you can push it up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, I call them gears, but whatever speed you want to be in. And then once you say you're in 5, you can hit a button on the right hand side, and basically it goes into cruise control mode, and it'll go between I'm 215 pounds. I know I don't look like it, but it'll go up to about 5 miles an hour, 4 to 5 miles an hour with me in
Okay.
it, with the battery, fully charged, and that battery will get up to 10 miles actually in a day. I've never ever ran out of battery while I'm out there. In fact, I have it sitting right here. It's this small. I mean, it's
Okay.
a little guy. You could actually carry 2 with you if you wanted to go further, but I mean, most people aren't going to do that on a kayak. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
more
10,
than 10
10
miles.
miles is a hell
That's
of
a
a
lot.
trip. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I mainly fish Merles. I see you there all the time, and I could probably cover from one end to another, no problem, if I wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah. So is that considered a motorized kayak? It is considered okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I went to the DMV. I tried to play it every which way. I mean, not the DMV, but I'm trying to think, up in Aner, where you get your paperwork done. And
Right, right.
I basically had it in the back of my truck. I had the drive, everything. And the registration it's basically required because of the motorized component um, in South Carolina.
Okay.
Most states it needs to be. I've heard other people say, I mean, when you look at it, you can't really tell. You know what I mean? It just looks like a pedal drive, but former law enforcement, I guess I'm not going to do everything
You're
by the
not gonna
book.
circumvent the law.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, mine has stickers. It has registration. You have to pay every year. Maybe that's a downside for some people, but yeah.
Okay, so it does have to be registered then.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Yeah, cool. So let's start. Let's kind of start at maybe the front of your kayak and work back. What kind of accessories and stuff do you have on this?
Okay, so like on the front, there's a little place where you can get down into the kayak there. I have a cooler strap. I do keep fish from time to time, flounder, sometimes a redfish. But yeah, I have a cooler there with some ice packs inside of it. So if I do catch something that I want to take home, I have that sitting up there. And then
What kind of a cooler bag is it? What's the name brand of that? Do you happen to know off the top of your head?
um
Because it's almost kind of like a triangle shape. It fits like the nose of your
yeah,
kayak, right?
yeah, it does. I do not have it in front of me,
Okay.
but I heavily research everything I do, and well, some things I will spend a lot of money. I said this is a cooler bag that fish are going into, and I don't know if you looked at those things; they can get really expensive, and just for these bags. But I found this one, and it's I think it runs about $48. I mean, I thought it was super cheap for what it does. It's never ripped. I've got two because I've got two EPDLs, one for my son and one for me. Never
Mhm.
had an issue. I can't think of the name, of course, though. I don't know. I don't have
Uh,
it.
Steve with Yak and Inshore, he just popped up Magellan.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Is
it.
it? Okay.
Yep,
All
that's
right.
it. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that, Steve. Thanks, bud. So yeah, okay. So you got a fish bag right there onto the front. Let's go ahead and keep working back.
Okay, and then um I've got a Garmin um sitting there. I got two different kinds. One's just CV, I think, cheaper deal. Which I put a more expensive one on my other one, and I wish I would have put the cheaper one because I mean I'm just getting water temperature and depth, especially at places like Merle's Inlet. If you're fishing inshore, you don't, I went out to the jetties today. I could see a little more because it was deeper. That's I mean, yeah, that is cool because the boat's 13 feet 2 inches, so it can go out in the ocean if you want to. So that's
Mhm.
kind of where I am with that. But yeah, so I have the Garmin. It's got places for more accessories and all of your pliers and those things. I've got some of that stuff sitting there. I have a basket that goes under my seat that I, just throw stuff down in. The cockpit area is huge. That's what I like about this boat. The gunnels are really, really high. And I was on a vibe kayak, like a tandem kayak before. I have kids, so we would ride around in that, not in the inlet, mainly bass fishing and stuff like that. But this just
Mhm.
feels way more stable than that, and there's lots of room, even with the drive. I think I've heard you talk about when you want to get really skinny, you flip your drive up. That drive will flip up and kind of get out of my way completely. If it gets shallow, it'll actually, you can lock it down, but you can leave it. Unlocked basically, and say you're getting skinny and you have the drive going and it hits something, it'll actually push itself up
It
and
just
shut
kicks
off
back up on.
and,
Okay,
sh- and,
good.
and
Yeah.
shuts off. So there's a shear pin in there. You could break something off. I carry an extra one just in case, but I've never had an issue, and I've been running the boat about I guess a
Right.
year.
Right. So your fish finder that you have, you said that you're only running it for depth and water temperature.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm not really paying too much attention to it. I do like it for depth because where you're I do need about 2 feet, a foot and 8 inches with the drive down. Now, when I pull it, I probably only need a half a foot. I can paddle in, but I do need you do I catch myself when I'm running around, especially at 4 or 5 miles an hour in Merle's Inlet. Sandbars. If you don't know what you're doing, and
Right.
I do find myself staring at that thing just to make sure I
Yep.
don't wreck the drive. I don't want to
Yeah.
do that. So.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat. I got a Striker 4, and that's the only thing that I use it for is for water temperature, depth, and the clock, and that's
Yep.
really
Yep.
it.
Yeah, it's pretty much
And
the same.
I'm the same way. And of course, there's I don't know how many times I'm not paying attention. I run into an oyster bar. My pedals down, and man, the thing's it jars up, and oh man, I was like, oh man, I wasn't even paying attention. You
Yep.
get those that look like a V, and it just wrecks you.
Yep.
But what kind of crate are you running there in the
Um, I run a Black Pack Pro.
okay?
I think it's the 16 by 16, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I usually take four rods out with me. The kayak has three rod holders. One in the front, two in the rear. I use the one in the front if I just need to set it down. I don't use the two in the rear at all. And then the Blackpack Pro has four rod holders on it. So I'll run two. I'll run three rods, and then I have the Yak Attack. I don't know the exact model, but the flip out, net, and
Oh yeah.
I keep that right here. So I'm fishing with the one hand, I can just reach back and grab that, and that's made to kind of just to flip out one handed. So it works really well for me on the kayak.
Yeah, I have seen that net. I really like it. Do you like that net?
I absolutely love it. I wouldn't. The
Yeah.
other thing, I have some short, like Colton, when he needs a little shorter one but because he's not as big, but I like it because I can reach out further and get that fish before, I don't have to get him all the way to the boat. It gives me another, I don't know, 2 feet, I feel like. Um, I don't know. And it's got a big opening there to get the bigger redfish into. So
Yeah,
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 I love it.
and that's a rubberized net, I'm
It
assuming.
is.
Yeah.
It is. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I do have a question here that I'm going to pop up here on the screen. So, Wired for Crappie, really appreciate you jumping on. It says, Wired here checking in from East Tennessee. Been watching DCO for a while now. Good stuff. I appreciate that. I know you both frequent the Wando. Which do you guys like more? The upper or lower Wando, the main river or the creeks? Bryan, I'll let you start.
Um, I like the lower. I mean, to be totally honest, I haven't fished the upper. I learned about Paradise Point from watching you, and
Yeah.
then I watched a few other videos, and one day I had to go down there and go to the doctor, and I put my kayak in my boat, and I said, I'm going to stop and fish before I go to this doctor's appointment, and I'm glad I did, man. I'm not joking. I think I caught, I don't know, that day, 4 or 5 reds, everything over 20. I said, man, I will be back here tomorrow. And I came home, and it was summertime. Colton didn't get to come. He was quite upset. But yeah, to answer your question, that's all I know right now. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I love it there. It's rare that I get skunked. Usually you're going to come home with or not come home, but catch a pretty big red and
Right.
release over 20, something like that. So
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, Paradise Landing, I love that whole area up there. So I guess would that be considered the upper one? Yeah, because that's the top of the river up there. So, I get back into those creeks. I love the creek fishing. I love fishing docks. I'm getting more and more comfortable fishing around docks, and I never thought I would consider myself a dock fisherman, but I almost prefer fishing around docks than up into the creek. So but again, there's a ton of areas up in there you can fish, flooded grass areas. There is all kinds of creeks you can get back into. But yeah, man, the Wando River is absolutely awesome. I think in my last video, I think I even said that's like my happy place. I really do love that area. I do. But Wired for Crappie, man, appreciate you jumping on. Thanks for being in there. It says Paradise is the upper. Yep, absolutely. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate that, buddy. So oh gosh, I keep clicking on a bunch of guys. Hold on one second. I'm going to throw him back up there, Bryan. I'm trying to read these and try to keep things going. It says Yak and Inshore, that Yak Attack storage on your front left is awesome, and also the catch bump board holder on your right. So
yeah.
where did you get that holder at?
The Jack Attack.
Oh, that is
I mean, pretty much everything on there is Jack Attack. To be
okay.
honest with you, I actually forgot about those 2 boxes when I was coming backwards. But yeah, those hold my soft plastics in there. I usually have a stack of 3-inch diesel minnows, and then the other one, depending on the time of year. Right now, I have some 4-inch diesel minnows in there, and then when I'm doing the camera stuff or whatever, I'll pop the batteries out and throw them in. It's just easy because that it has a seal on top of it and it stays dry. So,
Mm.
but yeah, I love the boxes. They pop on and off really easy. I'm pretty sure they float if they fall in the water for some reason.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and then yeah, I have the Yak Attack catch board, and then they make the catch board holder. Before that, I had the actual, I think it's Catch, Ketch,
Mhm.
like the yellow one, and I almost prefer that size a little more because it's a little bit smaller. This
Mhm.
the Yak Attack one is huge, but I will say if you catch a big redfish, that thing folds in like this, and that fish kind of sits in there, and
Oh, okay.
it's heavy, and it actually has rubber grommets on the back of it, and it floats if it falls off of your kayak and it doesn't sink. So
Okay.
it's kind of grown on me. It's just really big up there. I feel like, but yeah.
Yeah, Tony actually just popped on and said, "What brand of measuring board do you use?" So you just answered, and I use the catch board. I have a 32-inch, the aluminum one. It's the bigger, heavier board, but I needed to use that one for tournament fishing because that's really the only board that a lot of these tournaments will, I guess, is the official board, measuring board that you can use
Hmm.
because it doesn't give when you put your fish on. A lot of these plastic boards will actually give, and it'll like lengthen your fish because that thing gives down. And that aluminum board, there's no give in it. So once you put that fish on there, it's perfectly straight and it's a good measurement. So yeah, I use the 32 inch. I thought about using the 26, but fishing a lot of redfish tournaments, it's not going to be big enough for me. The minimum is usually 15 to 27. So I needed something at least 27 inches for my redfish tournaments. So that's what I use. David David just popped on and said, "Apologies if you already covered this in a prior episode, but did either of you hear about a seal that was spotted in Merle's Inlet?" Brian's already shaking his head yes. Then why don't you go ahead and talk about that?
Yeah, I think it was you probably know him too. Mike Eady. You
Uh-huh.
recognize that name? He does the kayak tours down there, and I think they do kayak fishing tours also.
Yep.
Maybe out of Paulie's. I've met him down there a couple times because they're always coming in and out. But if I'm not mistaken, he's the one that took the video of that seal. And I had to do some research 'cause I was like, never in my life, have I seen that, or I'm surprised they're here. But I guess we're on the southernmost point of where they travel to. And I think Mike said that's the second, only this, he's been doing this for a long time. He said that's the second time he's ever seen one out there.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. This is actually the first time I've heard about it. I've heard, we have some manatee that have been seen. And a matter of fact, my wife Lefty, she was had a girls' weekend at a house down there in Merle's Inlet, and they were kayaking and they saw the manatee. And I've been out there for 25 years and I haven't even seen the thing yet. So, but I keep hearing about this manatee that's in Merle's Inlet. I don't know. I think people are just making up the story, but no, he's out there. But I haven't seen the seal, so I'm going to need to jump on and try to find that video. But um, Mike Eady is awesome. He is I think he's like a pro kayak angler. He does all of these big fishing tournaments, and he's a fishing guide. You can actually hire him out. He's with I think it's Blackwater.
Yep.
He guides along with Stephen Trainer. Stephen Trainer's
Yep.
a guide out there, and so yeah. So if you guys ever want to get a guided kayak fishing trip, go there. I believe it's Blackwater kayaking, I
Yeah,
think.
I think
Okay.
so. Yeah, I think
Yep,
that's right.
yep. And just request those guys and go out. But no, David, I haven't seen it, but I'm definitely going to jump on and see if I can't, you know, find something about it. So, okay. So we pretty much went over your kayak. Let's talk about the rods and reels you use. I've never really got, dove into the actual equipment that you're using. So what are you throwing?
Yeah, so when I first got into it, I bought all just combo rods and reels, Daiwa BG 2500s, like the ones you can get at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Hmm.
I have a center console that I never take out either. But my thought was I was trying to get rods for both, kind of. I was like, oh, this is going to cover both. But then I got way more into the kayak side. So most of the time I'm fishing a Daiwa BGMQ 2500s. That's my favorite. And then I use St. Croix rod, 7 foot medium fast action Mojo.
Hmm.
Kind of I don't know if you've seen those shorter. Uh, for me, I like them better for the for the kayak. But yeah, that's what I'm using there.
Are the handles shorter on the Mojo? Because I'm
Yeah,
looking for rods with shorter handles because they hit my PFD all the time.
yeah. I want to say they're I don't know,
I
they're super short on the
Okay,
bottom. If that
okay.
makes sense, it's got the little nub. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I've thrown out here before, but if there's any rod makers that are watching this, take into account, yes, as kayak guys, and put a shorter handle or a butt section on those rods for us, because I've got a rod over here that I love, but the handle is long, and I'll make some casts, and it'll get hung up on my life preserver, and I hate it. So now my TFO that I use has probably only about maybe an 8-inch handle, and I love that. So that's
Mhm.
almost perfect. So yeah, any of you guys out there who make rods, shorter handles for us kayak guys.
Yeah.
So Wired for Crappie threw up something else again. He said, "Thanks, guys, appreciate it." Said, "How about favorite tide, rising or falling? Small craft. Do you mind me asking how old your son is? My mini me is 10 and stars in my videos as well from time to time."
Yeah, my son's he's gonna be 13 in a week, actually. We're gonna have a
Yeah,
teenager in the house, which is scary. So yeah. And then as far as the tide goes, I think I'm like Chris on this one. I like a little bit of the incoming and then the falling. A lot of times I'll go out on the falling tide, like dead bottom of it when we get there at Merle's Inlet or something. I like that too. I feel like obviously there's less places for the fish to go. So
yeah,
kind of simplifies it for me.
yeah, yeah. And Heath just popped in there. Good luck with the teenager, brother. So,
Thank you. I need a heat. Thank you.
yeah. So just to kind of throw my 2 cents in, I guess it would depend on what I want to target and how I want to fish. So a rising flood tide, like it's going to be on Saturday, I want to get up onto the flats and fish flooded grass for redfish. So that's what I like to do. And but my favorite is 2 or 3 hours of the outgoing and 2 or 3 hours of the incoming. So right at the bottom of the tide, and that swing is probably my favorite. It just concentrates all of those fish down to small creeks. So Scott Stevens, good to see you, buddy. He says, "Have you made any modifications to your kayak, like parts or pieces?"
Yeah, I've made a lot. uh, I there's a guy in Florida. He specializes in Old Town, Navarre kayak fishing. I don't know if you've heard of him before,
Mhm.
but so basically anything Old Town does wrong, he fixes it. In my, they cut corners. I mean, any brand does this. I'm not just pointing out Old Town, but
Right. Yep.
he makes a bunch of parts. Like just for example, the drive that you're pushing on. He makes spacers that slide in to tighten that thing up because when you get it, it actually kind of wobbles side to side. I mean, I think a lot of them probably do that, but when you put these spacers in, it tightens everything up, and man, it's point on. So he's got a lot of 3D printers down there, and he buys the kayaks, looks at them, says this is what I think they did wrong here, and then he does a lot of stuff. So yeah, if you have an Old Town, it's not just for the EPDLs, it's for the pedal kayaks too. Navarre kayak fishing, he is awesome. And
No,
if you have any issues, the guy has called me before. I emailed him in 5 minutes. He picked the phone up. I've never had customer service like that in my life. Great.
Navarre, did you say he was local?
No, Florida. Florida.
Florida,
Yep.
Florida. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And he's strictly Old Town.
I believe he makes. I believe he makes parts for Hobie and a few other things. But when you look at his website, the majority of it, to me anyway, seems to be Old Town.
Old
Is
Town
what he
stuff.
focuses on. Yeah, he used to be a guide down there, and that's what he used was Old
Okay.
Town. So he has a lot of time in the seat, and I think he
Right.
just. But like if you call him and you wanted something for the hood, he can. You can walk him through it, and he can try to make you the part, whatever it is you want. It's pretty interesting. But yeah,
Okay. All right.
not.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So to kind of keep moving on here, so we talked about your rod and reel setup. What do you like to throw? What's your confidence baits, if you don't mind sharing?
I can't give out that information.
Okay. So moving on,
I don't catch fish anyway. I was out at Merle's Inlet today and
yeah.
got stuck. So
Yeah.
I can give away everything. They don't
Well, it
catch
was good
fish.
having you on, Bryan. We'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, no, man, I like the Z-Man 3-inch diesel minnow. Depending on the day or sunny or cloudy, whatever. Beer Run is probably my favorite lately in the sun. And then Purple Death I use a lot on a cloudy day. Z-Man Prawn Star. I don't leave home without it, especially if I go down to Paradise or anywhere in Charleston. Yeah, they seem this summer anyway. They love that thing. I really wasn't catching anything on the diesel minnow. I was catching it on the Hercules 3-inch swim bait from Z-Man also. And like I said, I've talked to you about that before. I put the little willow blade on there, and at least down in Charleston and in Merle's Inlet, I've caught flounder on it and a red out in Weston Flat. So yeah,
Yeah.
I've enjoyed that. So.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm kind of the same way. I love that 3-inch profile, the prawn star. Any of the shrimp. The voodoo shrimp. I love the voodoo shrimp,
Yeah,
and the 4-inch paddle tails. I'm really starting to like the Baller Z from Z Man,
yeah,
and really any type of jerk shad. And I try to stick with the natural colors.
hmm
I love pearl, and then the right stuff, which is like that. It's almost like a dark brown. It's got some flash in it, and then maybe a real dark black color, like their Gold Rush.
hmm
Just to have that darker profile, like you said, on the real cloudy days or whatever, where you need that. But
hmm
I try to stick with the natural colors. Those are my confidence baits. I love the Beer Run color. I mean, I've
hmm
got it. I got the Baller Z in Beer Run. I got the 3-inch. I got the 4-inch in Beer Run. So I mean, yeah, if you're not throwing pearl, throw Beer Run. I mean,
Yeah,
it just works really well,
it
really
does.
well. So,
Those box those boxes on the front of my kayak, the Yak Attack ones that hold everything. It's pretty embarrassing because I've got the rainbows in there as far as diesel minnows and everything. But I pretty much I'm so stubborn. I think we were talking about this the other day or last week. I hardly change when I know I need hey, maybe I should change the size, change the color a little bit, go to something that. But I'll fish that thing all day and see it through.
I'm telling you, I need to be better at that. When I'm not catching stuff, I just need to be like, you know what? I'm going to throw something completely different and just see what happens. So, yeah, I think all of us as a fisherman, I think we just get stuck in our ways, and it's like I'm going to catch a fish come hell or high water, and I'm going to catch it on this one lure, and I'm not going to change.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's part of the reason why I carry 3 or 4 rods and have something different on each rod, so that I can just reach back and I'm kind of, I don't want to say forced to change, but it makes it easier to change what
Yeah.
I'm using.
Yeah.
So, but okay, well, I tell you what, it's been 30 minutes. That's it. It's so guys, if you have any more questions, go ahead and throw them into the chat box real quick. But Bryan, tell everybody where they can, check you out. Social media, YouTube, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's simple. It's a small craft angler on YouTube, small craft angler on Instagram, and small craft angler on Facebook. So you can. I appreciate you watching my videos. I give Chris all the credit. I started watching him a long time ago, 5 years ago probably, and I ended up moving down here. And I appreciate you having me on, Chris.
Hey, no, thank you. And checks in the mail. So thank you. No, no, man. Hey, it's fun. It's fun. I'm glad, I'm a better person that that I know you, and this has really started to become a great community, and getting to know all of you guys on Thursday nights and out on the landings, the guys who come up and there was a guy a couple of weeks ago that was like, I really didn't want to bother you. And again, guys, it is no bother. I don't care. I don't care. I love it. Come up, let's talk fishing. I don't care. Even if I'm on the water, hell, paddle up to me. Hell, I don't care. It's great. So, but again, Bryan, really do appreciate you taking some time out and jumping on. Guys, I appreciate you. And we will do it again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And remember, conservation starts with you. Release a fish for someone else to enjoy. And Bryan, stick around. I want to talk to you real quick before you jump out. But again, guys, thanks again, and we'll see you next week.